Hello and welcome to yet another video from 100% Motorcycles with myself, Rob Menzies, and my colleague
Jimbo. Hello there.
So hi and welcome back. This time we are here with my lovely gleaming motorbike, and we want to talk to you about preparing for taking your motorbike on track. So here we have a lovely gleaming Suzuki bike which is completely set up for road, and what we want to talk to you about is the kind of things that you're going to do to it and what you would change if you were going on either a single track day or if you were also thinking, okay, I'm now going to begin the year, book up a load of track days, and I'm going to be doing quite a few.
Yeah, I think where we need to start first is you've just bought your super machine. You know, you bought your super
Thanks,
bike.
Jimbo. Super machine.
Super machine.
Take note, people. Super machine.
I'm trying to be nice.
Thank you, my friend.
I'm waiting for the Suzuki haters to come and tell me where I need to go.
He says with the top with the ZX10 on it, so you're all right. You're okay.
All right, but not the new ones because they're pants. Just the old ones, the Gen 1.
Well, your bike.
Yeah, my bike, yeah. All right, that's it. Yeah, anything else from ZX10 was it the Gen 2 with the twin exhaust? Oh, my dear Lord. Yep. That's like a wallowy old pig.
Yep.
That thing.
Don't do Kawasaki's. Suzuki's. Love them.
Well, someone's got to.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Sorry about that, but Suzuki lover.
Yeah.
Born and bred. Cut me up, bleed blue.
Well, probably will do. They're renowned for crashing. Isn't it?
Yeah. So main bit really with any bike, obviously this one being road ready, is really around what we're going to do to it now to move it forward, because this is completely in road spec.
This is what you would buy at the showroom. You've got a few little toys on it that everyone does. You know, everyone changes their exhaust. So straight out the showroom, this can go possibly on the track. I wouldn't say 100% on track, because at the moment you've got that aftermarket exhaust on there.
Yeah.
So this, like I say, this is where certain people or a number of people come a cropper at their very first track day, is that they bought this machine and they've either stuck an exhaust on it or bought an exhaust, or it's come with an exhaust on it.
Yeah.
And they can't get on track because it fails noise testing straight away.
So this one is actually, I've gone through and actually done this. So this actually went to one track day. It's only ever been on track once. And it was noise tested without a baffle in it at 107 decibels, which basically meant that it wasn't getting on track.
So yeah, that would fail
pretty much everywhere.
All current UK track days, unless they're having a noisy day.
Yep.
Only limited track days have noisy days, which are normally around 108 dB. So you would have been alright for that.
Yeah.
But that's probably 3, maybe 4 times a year that you might be having a noisy day.
Yeah.
And generally they're packed out straight away with race teams.
Aren't they ever? But the bit that I was impressed with is what a difference the baffle makes. So, okay, don't have the baffle in when I'm on the road, but yeah, put the baffle in and was noise tested again, and it actually dropped it to 97, which I was amazed at what a difference it makes screwing in a baffle to the bike, because actually I didn't think it was that much difference, but it really drops it down. So 10 decibels there is quite a lot.
So on the road, take the baffle out, because in my opinion noise saves lives.
I'm with you on this.
Okay, but I'm not going to be held responsible if you get pulled over by the old bill and your bike fails their on-road noise test. Right?
Well,
I'm as far as I'm concerned,
yeah,
I think noise saves lives.
Yeah, I'm with you.
However, all bikes have a UK standard for noise, so it's about 98 decibels at a particular RPM.
Yeah.
So when you go to track, it's far cooler to go out on the track than to be sat watching because you've left your baffle at home because you think you're going to get on with a noisy exhaust.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think you don't win any prizes for turning up at track day, not going out on track.
So I think your message here really is take a baffle.
Take a baffle, yeah.
And don't be scared of using it either. I mean, okay, I'm completely with you. This gets MOT'd every year. It gets noise tested as part of the MOT.
Yep.
It's got a can on it that says this is road legal, even though it's loud.
Yeah. But you'll find that's only road legal with a baffle in.
Well, the last MOT, it passed the MOT without a baffle in.
Well, we won't mention where it's tested.
Yeah, indeed.
But so that is probably the biggest gripe that you will find, I think, because this is 1000cc.
Yep.
So you will be static tested at 5,500 RPM.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's where you would be tested. I think 600 is 7,000.
I think so.
I think.
Might be 7.5.
Might be.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't ridden the 600 for donkeys yet, so I've forgotten about that. And I think V twins are slightly less.
I think so, because you've got that different volume and different sound on it.
So yeah, the race tracks generally vary from 98 decibels
I think
to
98 about 102.
No, 105. In Cadwell is 105.
Yep.
Possibly. I should look that up before saying that. I know that Pembrey is 105.
Okay. I think
But Castle Coombe is
that's the one they really
90, 95,
you
not 93, something like that.
If you're on a K6 Suzuki, they're
You
the
would
ones with
fail
the
the
really
standard,
stumpy exhausts out of the showroom. They
Yeah,
fail.
they have a dirt rate list on their website that says what bikes would fail their standard noise test with standard equipment on. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I've never been to Cadwell, so I can't really comment on their procedures, their policies. But you know, if you're going to have a noisy cam, you've got to make sure you're going to get on track, because track days aren't cheap.
Well,
They range from 110 quid to 250 quid.
Yeah.
You know, that you're going to travel, especially where we are in Devon.
We
I think
got
the
lots of
minimum
travelling
track
to
is
get all of
like
them.
4 hours
Yeah.
at least to get to a decent track.
Yeah.
Then you're going to spend another 150 quid in a hotel for the night. You've got 60, 70 quid in diesel or whatever fuel that you're doing. You know, you've got your fuel in your bike, you paid your entrance fee. You know, why waste 450 quid, 500 quid because you can't go track because you've got a noisy cam?
So I think the message is clear, people. Take your baffle with you, put it in before you even get there, because you're going to need to,
Yeah.
quite frankly.
Or even if you've got the standard cam,
Yeah.
put the standard cam back on. Because like I said earlier, it's far cooler to be out on the track trying to get your need out or getting your need in.
Yeah.
Um,
But the other thing is as well, is if you actually have, I think what was officially called in the last video as an oopsie.
yeah, and I think it was a whoopsie.
Whoopsie, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. So should we have a whoopsie, then if you've got a standard can on, it's going to be a darn sight cheaper to actually go and replace that a standard can and get hold of a standard can.
Yeah.
Then it is going to be
Because you'll find them on eBay and Gumtree and that, because what people do, I'll take that off
Yeah.
and then flog their standard can
Yeah.
to recoup a bit of money, because it's also expensive.
Yeah.
So I think we'll put that to bed, that bit. I think we discussed the exhaust. Fair enough. Making sure that we have baffles. If you haven't got a baffle, put your standard can back on. Get out on track.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think the next one really is anything that's glass, taping it up. So, and this one, it's really difficult to get rid of the rear view mirrors, because actually you've got the indicators that are wired into them. So I've just literally folded them in. If you're on some of the other bikes that actually have just literally, you've screwed in rear view mirrors, it's worthwhile unscrewing them and taking them off.
Yeah.
But other than that, gaffer tape over your headlight, gaffer tape over your indicators, front and back. So if you do have a oopsie, then basically you're at a stage where you're not spraying glass all over the track. And I think that's kind of asked for and requested by most
yes,
tracks.
it is. Yeah. It's just basically that if you do have to have, like say, you have an oopsie, that like say your headlight or anything that is glass doesn't then shatter onto the track and then cover the track for other riders coming along later on. Yep. Stick with your mirrors. With these ones, like you said, you've got your indicators in, which is nice. Folding them in, okay. The main reason why I would go for removing mirrors, full stop, is on our road and on our tests, we're taught to do lifesavers, we're taught to check, mirror signal maneuver,
for the love of God, don't do that on the track.
Do not do that on the track. Having mirrors on your bike on track is probably the most dangerous thing that you can have on the thing, because what your tendency will do is that you're going to come into a corner and you're going to check your mirror. Okay, while you're checking your mirror, you've missed your braking point. Then you get spooked by someone coming up behind you.
Yep.
And then you either go really wide in a corner, then cut back in a corner, then cuts in front of a path of a faster rider taking the corner correctly, or you miss it completely and end up on the grass.
Yep.
So basically what I suggest is that if you can, take your mirrors off, because that will prevent you after a few laps, trying to look into your mirrors, and then you need to concentrate where you're going.
Yeah.
Because you're riding your machine far faster than you've ever ridden it on a road.
Yeah.
From the word go. You would go out onto your sighting laps, and you'll be like, oh my God, I've got to keep up with this guy in front.
Yeah.
You've got to keep the pace going. And I think that will be another topic that we'll talk about. Is probably what you're going to expect to find on your very first track day.
I think that would be good.
I think we're going to talk about that as well.
Yep.
But sticking with the bike. So take mirrors off. You've sorted your exhaust. Taped up your lights. Yeah.
Yep.
Taped up your lights. Yeah. What else would you do, Emily?
So, for just 1 or 2 track days a year, I probably wouldn't go for changing the entire fairings. The main bits I'd then focus on is changing suspension settings, so hardening up suspension settings, and then looking at tyre pressures. So we talked in a previous video around suspensions and having suspension setups. Just really recommending this. It can't be understated enough. You need to have the right suspension settings for what you're doing. So I think that is really, really critical. You've got a road and a track setting, you swap and change your settings to fit your track settings, so your bike is set up and works for you when you're on track.
So if you don't know much about suspension settings, when you go to most track days now, they will have a suspension guru.
Yeah.
That is a master of the black arts of suspension. And for a small fee, I think, depending on where you go, it ranges from like 30 to 50 quid.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll give you a full suspension setup. But that's not go there once and see them and then they fiddle a little bit and then send you on your way.
No,
it's for the complete
day.
It is for the complete day. So they send you out on your first session, then you pop up to see them at the end of that session and make a few tweaks, send you out again, ask you a few questions. Don't worry if you don't know the answer. Because they probably already know the answer by looking at tyre wear, your indicators and your suspension, and then make a few more adjustments. So by probably your 3rd or 4th session, your suspension will be dialed in, and you'll be like, oh my God, this is a completely different bike. I never knew it could turn so fast. I never knew it could support my weight while braking in a corner, into a corner. So suspension, definitely, if you don't know much about it, go and see a specialist. I would err on the side of caution, because there's always someone that knows about suspension.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, as in, I've heard like, I'll go and get the settings online, basically. And I think that's ridiculous, because the whole point is the bike's set up for you, your body weight and how you ride it. So you need somebody that knows what they're talking about, is professional in doing it, to set it up for you, rather than having a setting off the internet that someone else has done, where you don't know their weight, you don't know necessarily the age of the bike or what's going on, or the wear and tear that you're seeing on that track.
While we're on suspension, this has come straight out of the factory. You've bought it, you're a novice to track days. This is why we're talking to you about going for your very first track day. Suspension, for your very first track day, in fact, is quite expensive. Yeah. Because you need to actually look at the maintenance of your bike. For me, if I was then starting to consider suspension settings and changes, I would like to start from what I would say ground zero.
So literally all your maintenance and all of your checks.
I would make sure that I would like to know when my forks were last serviced.
Yeah.
So I would like to know how old is that fork oil.
Yeah.
I would then check seals, make sure I've got no misting on my forks. You know, I would make sure I would go through that. I would make sure, and I would make note of my current settings.
I think that's kind of a key bit is, and kind of sweeping up a lot of it is really the maintenance of your bike has got to be a given, isn't it? So, you know, really, if you're talking about going on track, you need to be considering all of the elements that you would expect as part of an annual service or an annual MOT. So make sure you've got decent oil in it or change it. Make sure you've got decent brake fluid in or change it. Make sure you've got decent suspension serviced or change it. Make sure you've got decent amount of tyres left because you're going to use them up, so you've got to have decent tyre wear left or change it. So you're completely right. Before we even get into the tweaks and the nuances of what you could do on track day.
For your first track day, your bike maintenance will start probably 3 months before. Because don't forget, not everyone can just go splash out for a track day, then go in to get the suspension done, then go in and get a new set of tyres, then put new brake pads in, then, you know, so it'll be a build up to, well, mine is when I like start a new season of track days, the first like month I look at the bike and I go through it, I have a little checklist, I go, right, okay, what do I need to do? When was my fork oil last changed? And I look through I have a little notebook, and I just go, right, okay, that was changed on, you know, in August, right, okay, well, that's a bit old now, so I'll change it. And then I know that when I use my bike for the very first time, my suspension settings will work, you know, and then I look at my brake fluid and I'll be, oh, okay, my brake fluid, that was changed in September, that's over 90 days.
Time for it to go.
Time for it to go, because, you know, it's one of those things is that your bike physically is abused far more than what it is on the road.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How often have you popped down to your local shop to get a pint of milk at 150 mile an hour? You don't.
I can honestly say never.
Never. But when you're down, let's say
back straight at Bedford will do you nicely.
That's nearly a kilometre long, isn't it?
Yeah.
So depending on your kahunas, then you'll be 170, 180 mile an hour. I've never ridden Bedford, but I've seen videos of that, and then 170 mile an hour, and you're from 6th to 2nd for that for the end corner at the end. So you have to know whether things are going to work. I would like to say I have a complete maintenance checklist. So oil change. When was your oil last changed? You're doing a track day. If it's been in there for a year, change it. The better oil.
It's the lifeblood of your bike.
And then I change my oil after every 2 or 3 track days, depending on what track I'm doing, depending on what the top end speed and how long it is at that speed and braking, etc., and gear changes and stuff like that. Then I work out. Then 2-3 track days, I will put new oil in, and that's a new filter as well. It's not just that; it's oil and filter.
The filters aren't actually that expensive either. I mean,
£5.
I was going to say it's nothing. I mean,
so oil's dear.
Yeah, indeed.
I would do that. I would then consider, so my checklist, so oil, fork oil, brake fluid, front and rear. Brake pads. You've got to make sure you've got enough life in your brake pads.
That's generally a good idea. What you really don't want to do is be able to down straight, grab some brakes, and
I understand. For your front calipers there, because you've got 4 mini pads, I think it's about, depending on what brand, you're looking between 22 quid to 100 quid, depending on the make and manufacturer and the compound of your brake pads. What I tend to do is I would have a set of road pads and a set of track pads. Because there's no point in actually throwing away a good set of pads.
No, completely agree.
Sorry, I've just seen a spider crawling towards your bike. I think it's there it is.
Let's go for a ride.
I think it does. I'm an acrophobic, or what's it?
You don't do spiders?
No. As an electrician, I should be alright. Don't squash it.
He's off.
He's alright. He's going to nest somewhere in there, and you can have a few thousand spiders in there, probably holding it together at one point in this future.
Cheers,
so I would consider taking your road pads out and putting a fresh set in. But then if you put a fresh set in, you're going to make sure you bed them in.
Well, you've got to bed them in against your disc as well. I know there's some people that will even have a swap of they'll take the discs and the pads and have a
Yeah,
spare
so they're
disc and
matched
pad.
and stuff like that. For your first track day, I would just make sure that you had sufficient amount of brake pads.
You just need some brake pads.
You
that
need
aren't
some
gonna
brake
run out.
pads. You need a sufficient amount of brake pads. Again, you're subjecting your brake pads to a condition that they've probably never been in before.
Yeah.
Fast road, okay. You're going to probably be down the pub saying, "Oh mate, I went down this road at 150 mile an hour and I could brake." Lovely. In reality, you've probably done about 80 mile an hour.
Yeah. It's completely different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's completely different. So definitely brake pads. Always good to have a check over. And working front to back, I would make sure that I have suspension done, brake pads.
Can I talk tyre pressures to you? I think this is generally quite a hot topic on track, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things I see people ride into the track and riding home again, and their first time on track think that you can leave the tyre pressures where they are because I ride quick on the road. I don't know about you, but I have a dramatic shift in my tyre pressure changes when I'm on track to where I am on the road.
Yes, you probably do now, but you probably never did on your first track day. And I think tyre pressures are kind of the grey area. I think depending on your ability and the group that you're going in and the track that you're going to,
yeah,
you might find that you might need to drop your tyre pressure 3 to 4 psi. And monitor it throughout the day, because you'll see that in the tyre. If you've got too high a tyre pressure, it will just blow out the rear tyre.
You'll feel it as well. It will start to slip quite quickly. You're going to start losing that grip.
But that depends on your ability,
Yeah.
And what you're trying to achieve. Because you can go to track days, and some people on the GSXRs, they ride it like Miss Daisy.
Yeah.
They're bolt upright, cruising around the track because they can go to the pub saying, "I've been to the track."
Yeah.
They've got no intention of going there to learn how to ride this machine to its limits. Work on things like body positioning, braking, acceleration. Looking further around the corner. It's all a skill at the end of the day, and some people, depending on what you want from your track day, will determine where you go with your tyre pressures.
Yeah.
So if you're there and you want to go, right, I'm going to go there, I want to try and ride, the bejesus out of my bike, then I think with that intention I would consider probably dropping it a little bit more. Every manufacturer will have a hot and a cold tyre temperature.
Yep.
So generally on your first track day you probably wouldn't have invested in tyre warmers, so you would go for cold tyre pressure.
Yep.
That would be cold tyre pressure that you need to monitor after every session. All right, and in my experience I would come off before each session, because you will have to allow it time to cool down, because between sessions you get about 40 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, normally.
So they would have cooled off, and I would double check my tyre pressures then to make sure that they haven't decreased or increased.
Yep.
Because the carcass might still have temperature in it. Yeah, so I don't think it's one of those things where you can just go straight to the track.
No.
And then just go, right, I've got my machine, I'm going straight to the track, and I'm just going to ride like a loon.
No.
I don't think that works at all. I think that attitude is the worst attitude that you possibly could have.
Yeah, I agree.
On that, I think. And we'll probably do a video on bravado. All right, the track day.
The track day bravado.
I'm quite strong opinion on that. I think going there with a well-maintained motorcycle is absolutely key.
It's critical, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Another thing we forgot to do, chain.
I was going to say, what else would you do? So we've done suspension, we've done the servicing, we've done tyre pressures, we've said checking everything is in good order.
Yeah.
So what else would you do? So what would you do with your chain?
I would just make sure that it's adjusted to manufacturer spec. So on these you have a
3 mil play.
For play, so it's like free play in your chain.
Yeah.
And that's because once your suspension compresses at the back, it either lengthens or shortens the chain.
Yep.
So what So you have that free plane. So when it compresses, it takes up that slack.
Also quite dangerous if it's too slack. Though,
Yes, it is. Yeah. So make sure you change adjusted to your manufacturer spec, and make sure that it's well lubricated.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any stiff links in it, because that chain that you've got at the moment might be okay for you just buzzing up and down the dual carriageway at 70 mile an hour or whatever. But then you put it under
pressure over it. Though,
put it under massive amount of pressure,
Yeah.
massive amount of acceleration, and that thing will snap.
Yeah.
And that's the end of your day.
Yeah.
At that point, because yes, all right, there might be someone there who might have a spare chain. It's up to them whether they want to give it to you or whether you've got the funds in your pocket there and then to chuck them some cash to have a new chain. But generally, you're screwed at that point.
Yep.
So, again, having a poor chain, condition will just contribute towards such things as it snapping. If it snaps, you've got two options: either it'll fling straight out the back, or what it'll do is it will just jam your wheel.
Yeah.
And if it jams your wheels, you're out over the top.
I was going to say that's
so
crash territory straight away, isn't it?
It's one of those things. It's like you go to some track days, and you will see a numerous amount of motorcycles there.
Yeah.
You will see a numerous amount types of condition of motorcycles.
Yeah.
You will go from hardened track day goers, and their bike will look like an absolute dog.
Yeah.
But you will look at all the bits that need to be attended to, and it will be spot on.
It's funny you say that. Last track day I went to, I got chatting to a guy, and his bike looked absolutely horrific. Clearly he'd fallen off of it a couple of times. Had track fairings on it, and it looked like it had been beaten up. It really looked terrible. And I got talking to him and kind of said, that looks like it's been down the road a few times. And he kind of came back and said, I've been pushing and unfortunately came off a few times. But the bit that he always did was he said, I don't mind about the bits of plastic, the fairing and how it looks. I'll gaffer tape that back together again. But when it comes to the actual maintenance and structure of what's underneath it, absolutely sound. Everything there is bang on. All the mechanics are bang on.
Yeah.
Nothing is bent. It just looks rough and ragged.
It just looks rough because the fairings have had a bad day.
Yeah.
And then you've got the show-offs that have got the pristine motorcycle.
Like this.
Yeah. That you've never really seen hard work in their lives, but they're going to the track because they want to say that they go to track, and they tend to go to the large, well-known tracks.
Yeah.
And then you've got just people that just rock up on whatever they found lurking in the bottom of the garden. And you think, oh my dear Lord.
At least at the bottom of eBay, let alone the bottom of the garden.
And they're there, and it's got rusty chains, it's got it's covered in oil everywhere. It could be like an old Triumph, where it spent most of the time leaking oil. You look there and it's got a really naffy front tyre, or the rear tyre's shot.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't really want to go out in a group with those people, because that
it's going to be a danger to you as well as
an
them,
accident waiting to happen at that point.
Yeah.
And then, like I say, then you get the regular track days that have like an in between, so their bike does kind of look pristine, which mine did until I crashed. And then push a little bit more on the track and take the maintenance side of things really serious. Like I said, I have a checkbook where I have dates and things when things have changed.
I actually do the same thing. So I've actually got the Haynes manual for this bike, and even though it's not going on track, because I hire a bike, I do exactly the same thing. So there's a checklist that comes out, the Haynes manual, on when you should be changing what. I photocopy that every single year and tick it off as I go and write the dates on everything that's on it. And I think it's really worthwhile, because at the end of the day, these bikes, you can scream them up to a squillion revs, because the revs that these things go to, the pistons should be coming out and smacking you in the chest. But if you look after them and maintain them, they'll go for thousands and thousands of miles and still keep on running.
Well, my Gen 1 ZX10's now got 30,000 miles on the clock.
Yeah, most of that's been track day, I'm guessing.
No, not really.
No?
I bought it 5 years ago now, 2013. 6 years ago? 6 years ago, yeah. And I had 19,000 miles on the clock, and then I did a lot of road riding on it.
Okay.
and then I did track and road, and then I went to track. So
Okay.
yeah, but you look at the dyno when I had it dynoed last year. It produced 167 brake horsepower at the rear wheel.
Lovely.
So you can tell that by just routine maintenance, looking after it, it's going to produce that power.
Anything else you would do then? Anything else you would change for a track day, or is by the time we've done the maintenance, we've done all the routine stuff, we've looked at our tyre pressures, we've made sure we've got brakes, we've made sure we've changed fluid, we've got rid of anything that we can remove, and we've taped over any glass. I think the only bit that we haven't really talked about is changing fairings, but I'm not sure I'd want to do that for a single track day.
I think you've got to kind of weigh up the cost, the expense of those fairings, because a fairing kit for this will be 300 plus quid.
Yeah.
Then everyone doesn't want a white one.
Yeah.
So then you'll spend a fortune on having it painted or having fancy stickers put on it. For later on, I would consider a track fairing, but for your first year of doing it, which you'll probably end up doing like 4 or 5, I probably wouldn't even bother.
No.
I would very much come to terms in my own mind that if I had an accident, that's going to be quite costly.
Yep.
I think that's another thing. Let's think about understanding what you're doing. I think we've covered the bike. I think the bike's done now. I think we need to talk about your first track day and be mentally prepared.
Yep.
I think mentally preparing for your track day is almost as important as your bike, because I think if you don't prepare mentally, because like I say, you have this beautiful machine, all right, you're going to ride it far faster than you've ever ridden it before.
Yep.
You are on a racetrack to where there are other riders. You will go through your signing in procedure, and part of it is a disclaimer saying to you that actually riding a motorcycle is dangerous and you could have serious or significant injuries or die, and you sign to say, yes, I'm okay with that. Okay, so you sign that. And I think that you've got a number of ways that this could go very, very badly.
Yeah.
I think one is your own error, that you ride outside of your ability because you think you're better than what you are.
Yeah.
Or you could actually have a collision with someone else on the track.
Yeah.
Okay. This is prepare yourself for that bit, because you could have an injury caused by someone else that totals you and your bike.
Yeah.
So that could, especially at a number of tracks, will just be slung in the back of a trailer, or it will come back to the paddock on a set of strops hanging off the front of a tractor.
So I'd like to ask you about something. It tends to be quite controversial, but I've only put this on track once. As I've mentioned in some other videos, this bike cost me £6,000. So for me, that was quite a big risk to go and walk around on track for £6,000 that I might literally be throwing down the road if something goes wrong. So for me, it was worth paying for insurance. So I actually went and got some track day insurance for this bike, which does have quite a big excess on it. So I think the excess was about 500 quid, if I remember. And it basically cost me £100 to get that for a day. So it's £100 extra to know that I've got 6,000 or 5,500 quid's worth insured. Now, a lot of people I know don't take it out because of that cost, but for me, I kind of got to the point where I'm looking at the mental element of being able to go and ride my bike on track and not worry. It was actually just as important for me when I was considering the cost of the track day to consider that extra 100 quid insurance as it was to consider all the other costs that we've talked about in this video that's going to come in, just so that I know I'm covered.
The thing is, what you've done is you paid £100 for security in your mind, that if anything happens, you've paid £500 out and your bike will be covered. And I believe you said that, we've discussed this anyway previously, that you insure that with all of the modifications.
Yeah, so it's literally put back as you have it now.
Which is really good.
Yeah, so you take photos before the track day,
Yeah.
and literally it is as described. So you go in, and when you're taking out the insurance, you basically describe all the modifications. They take them all down. They ask you to take photos of it, and then basically they'll repair your bike back to the condition it was before you started the track day.
Yeah, which is really good. And I know it's a little added expense, but that gives you peace of mind, because one way that you will actually cause an accident for yourself or for others is the fact is you will tip into a corner slightly faster than you did in that before,
Yep.
and what you will do is you'll bottle it.
Yep.
And you'll stand it up and you'll grab a handful of brake,
And
and
then
you'll
you're
be in the
in
middle
real
of the
trouble.
line for someone else, and you'll just clatter into someone,
Yeah.
or worse, or you'll just go into the grass. And you know, bikes and grass do not go together very well. They tend
Really
to
don't.
flip. They
Indeed.
tend to flip and bounce, and they don't bounce very well.
No, indeed.
I think, yeah, for mental state, I think you've got to be prepared that you're going to take your dream machine to the track, and you might not be coming home with it. I think that's the thing.
It's quite a deep thought to have, isn't it?
I mean, it is a deep thought, but the ways that you can reduce it is by having a properly maintained motorbike,
Yeah.
right? Making sure that your equipment that you're wearing is suitable. You see our previous videos, we've got ones on levers, helmets and gloves and boots, so
Yep.
please
Definitely go watch those.
check those videos out. And then just being in a mental state. You know, you need to be kind of like yin and yang and all that malarkey, spiritual, but you've got to be kind of one with yourself in your mind, so then you can ride your bike,
Yeah.
get the most out of your bike, but then also accept the fact is that if you do crash, you could literally destroy your bike. You know, and when I did a European track day in Portimao last year, and I happened to a bloke out there.
Yeah.
Had a brand new BMW 1000 RR, third session of the first day, come back to the pits in 2 pieces.
Wow. Is that
Yeah.
best part of 20 grand's worth of
Well,
motorcycle?
yeah, at least, you know, you're there for 3 days. This guy was crying for 2.5.
I bet he was.
You know what I mean? Because, like, you know, a £20,000 bike, it's brand new. You know, he bought it, wanted to go to his track day, and I think the resulting fact of the reason why he crashed is because he was in the wrong group.
Right.
And
What, too fast or too slow?
too fast, he was in too fast of a group for his ability.
Right.
And, you know, he made a mistake in the corner, bottled it,
Yeah.
got on the brake, and someone clattered into the back of him.
Wow. That's
You
going
know,
to hurt.
and it's a fast track.
Yeah.
It is a fast track. You know, so I think the mental ability as well. I think while we're on the mental ability, you're coming in terms with your own mind. Think about your ability as a rider at this point,
Mm-hmm.
because first track day, are you going to go in fast group? Are you going to go in intermediate group? Are you going to go in novice group? Yeah.
I think there's a big stigma
Because
about.
people can ride fast on the road, but
Doesn't
they can't
mean you're
ride-
fast on track.
You can't ride fast on the track. I'm not saying that's for everyone,
Yeah.
but there's that little bit of bravado. And I think the little thing down the pub again, I'll go and do my track day, boys, you come with us, I'll put myself in the fast group. Because you ride reasonably well on the road.
Yeah.
It doesn't work onto the track.
If you're going to enjoy your day and allow others to enjoy the day, the sensible thing is, I mean, before you even think about your own ability to ride a bike and your own abilities on a track, you've also actually got to get to the point, do I know the track? Do I know where I'm going?
Exactly.
As I found out recently, I would generally put myself at the top end of Inters or the bottom end of Fast Group. But I'm going to Donington, which is a big track, never been there before. Took me till lunchtime to learn the
That's
track.
it, yeah.
I would say I was the bottom end of intermediate group until
Yeah.
I got to lunchtime, because literally did not know where I was going.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important element, that not only how many track days have you done, be sensible about that, but do you even know the track you're riding around, and how long is it going to take you to learn the track?
Yeah,
And don't be upset about going in novice or lower group, so that you can make the most and enjoy your day.
Exactly. I think you need to have a starting point. I think you need to work out your ability of riding. your style of riding. You know, if you're a bolt upright rider, you know, enjoys the summer sun and like to cruise around on your bike, I think you're going to go towards novice.
Yeah.
If you're kind of a fast road rider, you're working on your position, body position, you know, you can hang off the thing enough, you're moving about on it, trying to get the most out of the bike, I would probably go...
You're probably Inters at that point.
Yeah, I would say, but I wouldn't go into Inters thinking that I'm going to overtake everyone.
No.
I would go to Inters thinking, right, okay, I'm now going to go learn from someone that is in Inters, that's faster than me.
Yeah.
Because I've never been there before.
Yeah.
You know, I think understanding your ability as a rider dictates what group you're in.
Yes.
Okay. And the thing is that if you put yourself in fast group and you're at the first session and you're there holding people up, you will be moved group. You know, these providers monitor you to see your ability and they will move you about.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but they've changed the names of the groups recently. Yeah. So what they've done is they've changed it from fast group to advanced group or experienced group, because what they're doing, and it's right, is the quicker group, or the fast group as we're calling it, is actually, we've been on lots and lots of track days before, we know what we're doing, we're used to track riding, and I'm of a speed that is perhaps higher than ones that are in the other two groups as well. So certainly for your first track day, I think you've got to be pretty much nuts to be coming along and trying to put yourself into an advanced group when you've never been on a track day.
The thing is, there's a lot of providers out there for track days that you can just go online, put your name in, put what bike you're in, and then pay, and you're in that group.
Yeah.
And there is another provider out there which I think does it the right way, and it asks you for your experience.
Yeah.
It'll ask you for the number of track days that you've done.
Yeah.
It will ask you for the number of track days that you've done at that track that you're going to, and then they will actually move you about into the group that they think that you're going to be most suited at.
Yeah.
And then what they'll do is they, like say, they have a number of instructors out. They will go out and monitor you and go, actually, you're too fast for this group, you need to go up, or you're too slow for this group, you need to go down.
Yeah.
You know, and there's nothing wrong in just admitting that actually, they're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me on a track day is, you know, there's all the bits with racing, which isn't a track day, that's around lap times, winning the race, which we're not racing, we're on a track day.
Yeah.
So for me, it's around the enjoyment of riding a bike, the enjoyment of the day, and coming home with the biggest smile on my face that I've ever had.
Yeah.
If I'm in the right group and I'm around the right group of riders that are a similar pace to me, perhaps I overtake some, they overtake me, you know, that kind of level where we're similar on pace, I already know I'm going to enjoy that a lot better than going into a group where either I'm a lot faster than them, where I'm going to be really worried because I'm gaining on someone so quickly it feels dangerous, or the other way around where I'm not quick enough and I've got someone literally whizzing past me like I'm standing still, which then actually makes you it disrupts you from your actual riding.
It does, and then it also puts you in a position going, I need to speed up.
Yeah.
And it puts you in an uncomfortable position then, because you're trying to speed up and then you'll make mistakes. Yeah. Making mistakes are costly at in that type of speed. You know, talking about being in the wrong group, like last year, I put myself in the wrong group at Cadwell.
Okay.
I phoned up last minute. There was only a spot left in novice. And generally, Cadwell, and that, because where it's located, you would get quite a lot of experienced riders there. So the groups are generally a little bit quicker than elsewhere. And on this particular day, it wasn't that day, so I was in novice. And I'll tell you what, it was like motorcycle slalom. Really? It was, it was unbelievable, you would, we're going down the pit straight, and no word of a lie, this goes back to the maintenance of the bike. Someone was on an ER6F, and the exhaust fell off.
Oh, nice.
What am I doing down there? I'm
100 and something.
Yeah, I'm 140, 145.
The last thing you particularly want is a bit of an exhaust
flying
flying
exhaust flying off. It's one of those ones that was underneath, underslung in the belly pan, and it just come off, ding, down the thing. you know. And for me, I was in the wrong group. Again, the organisers were great. We just went over the saw them at the end of the day. They knew who we were anyway, because you know, they see you more than everyone else because you're putting in more laps than everyone else.
Yeah.
They see you cornering and bits and bobs and stuff, you know. That was the only time I managed to get air over the mountain.
Yeah.
So that was ideal. But you know, again, it's one of those things. Is you've got to be, like I say, you have to understand your ability. I think that's the hardest bit, is to come into. Everyone will go to the first track day and they think they've got to get the knee down, they've got to overtake people. It's not necessarily the case.
No. It's about enjoying your riding,
it is.
Enjoying the day.
It is a track day. If you want to go racing, you join a race series.
Yeah.
Or a race syndicate, or whatever that you need to do to get into that. I think that's where a lot of people kind of go wrong.
Yeah.
You know,
I think there's a perception about that as well. So I was talking about mental stability earlier on. There's a guy that I encouraged to start joining track days, and his mind was completely around, this is a race series.
Yeah.
So I'm going there to go racing, and you know, I had to have quite a serious conversation with him around, you're not racing, this is a track day, you know. This is
to where you improve and learn new skills of your motorcycle.
Yeah, exactly.
And by learning those skills you get faster, and by getting faster you progress through the groups.
Yes.
It's not, you know, there's no such thing as where you go line up on the starting grid and then you go hammer and tongs.
Nope.
You know, for me personally, I am very competitive, and I have to seriously talk to myself for that, because as soon as someone overtakes me, blinkers go on. Right, okay, I'm off.
Which, you know, again, is great if you're racing, but also can be quite dangerous. Is kind of the phrase of the red mist descending.
Yeah.
You can sometimes lose some of that sensory awareness that you have when you're on track about lines and vision and where you're going, because actually you become so focused on chasing somebody down that all you actually see is that rider, rather than all the other stuff that's going on that you were looking at one lap previous.
Yeah.
So it's so important, isn't it?
I had that at me at Cadwell.
Right.
Someone overtook me like I was stood still. I thought I was going fast at that time, I wasn't. And then I pushed it, and then I ended up going across the grass at the gooseneck.
Right, okay.
And that's pretty scary, because the gooseneck is off camber and it goes downhill.
Yeah. You've done that one.
Yeah, so you definitely know that, and that's because I'm just trying to push to catch up with that person that's overtaken me. There's no way that I'm going to catch him, because, you know, he is better than me at track. And you have to admit, like you say, going on your first track days, or doing your 100th track day, or doing your 1000th track day, there's always going to be someone on that track.
Someone's always going to be quicker than you, aren't they?
Better than you.
Yeah.
That's a good little bit of information for our subscribers today. So if you guys like what we're doing with our channel, please subscribe, hit that bell so you get all of the notifications of our latest videos. And myself and Rob will see you on the next one.
Look forward to it. Take care, guys.